Okay, so I'm doing an MVP. The tech stack is going to be Rails 6, Stimulus, roughly speaking here, Postgres 12, PostgreSQL 12, and I'm going to use Tailwind CSS. I'm going to use Tailwind UI, which they just came out with yesterday. And let's just go over some of the basics of getting it running. Tailwind, that is. And excuse me, Tailwind UI, that is. So I have a basic Rails 6 app installed, and I'm going to use this gem to install Tailwind CSS, which we got to do first. And you basically just follow it. If you're in Rails 6, you do not need to put in Webpacker. All right. Nor 5.2 either, I don't think. But anyway, you're just going to put Tailwind CSS in your gem file. You're going to bundle. You're going to skip this one, and you're going to do this one. All right, and that's going to do this stuff here. So it's a pretty nice gem. Like I don't like adding a lot of gems, but I do use this one here. You can just follow this as well if you didn't want to do all this. You have to remember to do this too here. Now, if you use live reload, let me go over what my content security policy looks like. So let me make this bigger. I add in the live reload stuff here. These two. I think you just need the WebSocket one here. In fact, you know what? I'm going to take that out just to test that. And I need to restart. Okay, if I make a change to one of the initializer files, of course. So let's go back here. You're also going to need to add this pack tag. All right, to your layouts. So where's mine? This here should look like this. Okay. And also it's worth noting, I do make a change because I have so many projects running. I have to change the Webpack port. So I'm just using 3025. I probably have 4 or 5 projects. So you need to change the port in that case. And that was reflected here as well in my content security policy here. Here, 3025. Okay. So that will get Tailwind CSS installed in your Rails project. Now, though, you're going to need, so Tailwind UI, I bought the marketing and UI package. So I just installed this one, which just comes from the hero sections and simple centered. All right. Now, it's okay. This is good that I just saw this because it's worth mentioning. What you need to do when you do install Tailwind this way, Tailwind CSS this way, you're going to need to go into your package.json file. All right, which so you have in a Rails project, you got a package.json file, package.json file. You're going to want to bump it to Tailwind to look like this. Okay, so it'll be like this after this gem, but you're going to want to do that. Okay, and then you're going to want to do yarn again, yarn install. Okay, because to use Tailwind UI, you need to have 1.2. All right, now you also need to install a plugin, a UI plugin, which I guess is more CSS stuff. Okay, to do that, you do a yarn add, and you stick it in the tailwind.config.js, which gets created during the gem time. And see, we got a tailwind.config.js. I've already put it here in the plugin. after doing the yarn install. Okay. Now, some of the stuff like we really need is like why Tailwindui was created, because we need a replacement for Bootstrap components, Bootstrap UI stuff, modals, and this and that, and that really was the missing link for using Tailwind in an MVP project. You don't want to have to recreate all that stuff. So the real interesting stuff, not that this stuff is not interesting and cool, because it's great to see how they create these things, and they're all responsive too, which it's been a little difficult for me to get a hold of some of the responsive stuff. But what you can do is, what's really cool, is go like this, and then you can look at all of the code to see how they do that. So when you're doing your own stuff too, you can see how you do this stuff to make it responsive. Anyway, let's look at some of those, like the UI, application UI components. So what I did in, so here again is my app, and I just grabbed this, but I also grabbed this, what do we call these again? These switches? I have to see what it's called here. Where did I get this? Okay, toggles. So I just wanted to grab a toggle because I just wanted to make sure that there's a JavaScript component to Tailwindui, and that's done through a library called alpinejs. And alpinejs is pretty cool because it's a lot like Stimulus. In fact, the creator of alpinejs didn't like Stimulus, or didn't like the Stimulus API. So he came up with alpinejs, and it's a way of just declaratively putting your JavaScript right in line with your server-side rendered HTML. So that's what Tailwind is using. I imagine it'll be interesting to get in. I'm planning to use Stimulus, and I think I'd like a little bit how Stimulus puts a lot of the code behind the scenes, and it's not all going to be in the markup. And the markup gets pretty big, especially with Tailwind. You have quite a bit of Tailwind stuff in the HTML markup. I don't know if I want a lot of like what I'm seeing here. Like it's maybe a little bit too much of JavaScript in the markup too. And I like how Stimulus puts some of that away. And I'm sure Alpine could too. You can put it back into a class, a JavaScript class. Anyway, let's just take a look at. So I just grabbed this one, I believe, the short toggle. And right here you can just take the stuff from the clip, or put it all in the clipboard. Now you notice here on each one of these it has the script tag for Alpine. Now we don't need to do that if we have a Rails project, because we have Webpack, and so to do that, because I don't want to include this like this, right? We want to do it in a cleaner way. So here we have the working version. That means I have Alpine installed. And to do that is simple. You just simply are going to do a yarn add alpinejs. Okay, I've already done that, so I don't need to do it again. And you're just going to add it to your, what's going to get created here is when you do, okay, I think this was automatically created. When I made the Rails project, I made it with the Webpack switch for Stimulus.js, and I believe it made this. But no, you know what? I think this comes by default like this, because it does the Rails Vue.js and the turbo links, all right, and the active storage. So forget that. But anyway, all you need to do is require alpinejs here, and your stuff is going to work fine. So here I have the cut and pasted code. I just pasted. Here's the marketing information starting here. You can see here is the code I put in that was here in Tailwindui. Okay, but sans this, because we don't need that. Now you can see how verbose Alpine is. That's a little bit too much, but I don't know. Maybe I'll like it. I'm going to just be interested in kind of hacking around with this code And I mean, at least it's nice in that both methods that I'm going to be using for this MVP are server-side rendered HTML, JavaScript sprinkles. On these UI components, we'll have Alpine. On most of my other stuff, will be Stimulus.js. Okay, so go out there and grab Tailwind UI. It's really a small price to pay. I paid $249 for it, and the creators, Adam and Steve, not that I know them, but it's just like I've created products myself, and the amount of work you put in them are just so, it's just like so much that the value you get for $249 is like, it's just a small drop in the bucket. And then you're also promoting them to create more and more content for, I mean, if you're really behind the utility first CSS, which I'm totally there, you know, and putting things in the markup itself, then support what they're doing too. And this is gonna, it's going to teach you how to do it, and save you tons of time. And then you're going to promote them to make more and more and build more and more up in this ecosystem. So yeah, this is Rails 6 with Tailwind UI. Go have fun. Thanks for watching.